So the initial framework is getting there, but it's not responsive yet. I'm here at getbootstrap.com, and I'll click on the CSS link. At the top here, we can see the mobile first section, and I'm going to grab the meta tag that allows us to be responsive. It looks at the viewport, and it sets the width to the device width, sets the scale to 1, and it also makes sure that the user cannot scale. So I'll copy this, and I'll go back to our application. And looking at the index.html page, we can just add that right after the head before the title. So here's our meta tag, and as long as we're here, let's fill in the title as well. So let's see how this appears in Chrome now. I'll pull up the developer tools again. We'll select the iPhone 6 and refresh. And that looks better. The buttons jump down to the next line as we expected. That happens at the small breakpoint, which is right here. But I think what would be good is if we actually centered these controls instead of aligning them to the right. And we could also center the header. That might look better as well, especially when we get down to very small sizes. For example, here, if the icon and the title were centered, it would look much better. So let's do that. We'll go to the psframework.css file, and we're going to want to adjust some CSS values within a media query. I'll paste that in. I'll go to the bottom and paste the code. So we're creating a media query at media screen for the screen size, and the minimum width is 768 pixels. So these selectors are going to become active and overwrite any of the previous selectors when the screen is 768 pixels or wider. The first thing we're going to look at is our div underneath our PS right side controls. And since this media is for larger screens, on larger screens we're going to want to align this to the right, the way we were doing before, right here. But on smaller screens, we're going to want to center this. And then in our PS, it should be title area, on the larger screen size, we're going to align that to the left. So currently it's already aligned to the left. So let's look up at the PS title area. Here it is, the selector's right here. And we can just say text align center. So on the small screen size, our title area will have everything centered. I'll save and check it out. Hit refresh. And there we go. Our buttons are centered on the bottom. Now we're not getting the centering on top, and we'll look at that in a second. But as we resize this window, we can see that at least the buttons are looking good. As soon as it breaks down to the extra small screen size, our buttons get centered in the middle. And let's fix that title now. If we look at our PS framework template.html file, we can see the div that we want to have centered is right here. And that has a class of PS logo area. So let's add a selector for that. We'll select PS logo area, and we'll set the text align to center. And if you look down in our media query, we'll also set the PS logo area to left. So on the larger screens, and remember this whole media query will be in effect for screens that are equal to or larger than 768 pixels. But if that's the case, we can align that whole block to the left. Let's take a look at it now. I'll refresh, and I'll resize it. And everything's centered now, and that's good. We can try a few different phone models. I'll try the iPhone 6. That looks good. I'll try the iPhone 4, let's say, and I'll refresh. And that looks good as well. We can try it on other devices too. Let's take a Google Nexus 10, and that's fine. That has a big wide tablet layout. And on an Android device, let's try the Galaxy S4, and that looks good too. So we have the initial framework in place for our application. It's responsive. We can set up controls on the upper right side. And one of the final things we'll need to do is pass along the title and the subtitle, as well as the name of the image. And we'll do that in the next video.